So we're about to go through something called Installfest. Installfest is basically getting your machine, which is like your Mac OS, the one that comes built in from the Apple Store, and we're going to make it into a development machine. We're going to install all the things that you mostly need to get started for the first 3 weeks, and some of the things that we're installing are going to carry on to much later weeks as well. So everyone, if you want to go to the curriculum, go to Monday the 8th. We're going to set up a bunch of stuff, and it's supposed to be in very specific order. So that's why it's listed in such a way. Just as a forewarning, this is going to be complete and utter chaos. It may take you some time to install some things. You may not understand everything that's happening, but that's totally okay. So the first thing you need is an Apple ID and Xcode downloaded. So your Apple ID is basically what defines your machine as like basically your identifier into the Mac ecosystem. You need it in order to access iTunes, to buy anything from the App Store. It's free to sign up. It's just an identifier that stays with you. Xcode is basically a piece of software that basically says, okay, now that I have my machine, I want to make it into a web development machine. Xcode basically gives you all the tools from Apple to make your machine into a web development machine. It's a very large download because it basically turns your machine into a development machine. It's about 3 gigs. It'll take a long time to install. If you haven't installed it already, make sure you're hitting it now. Second on the list is Slack, and you want to get this from the App Store. The reason behind this is that if you have the App Store keeps track of all the versions for you. So if you have like Slack 1.0 and then it upgrades to 1.1, if you were to manage it yourself, you have to know to upgrade it. But because you're downloading it through the App Store, you don't have to worry about that at all. The App Store will keep track of all the versions for you and update it as it needs to be updated. The next one on the list is Zoom. This one is pretty simple. You just go to zoom.us/download. And that's for all the remote students, so they already have it set up. But everyone here in person, if you need it, let's say you're sick one day, let's say some emergency happens and you can't make it in, you can always call in on Zoom. It's our paid video conferencing software. Next, sign up for Operation Code. I talked about this a little bit with the remote students, but basically Operation Code is this national organization that aims to get service members and their families into more tech-facing positions. They also have their own Slack channel, which I can show you right here. They have a ton of channels. Here, Danny, why don't you? I'll just actually just turn this around. All right, I'm just gonna kneel, I guess. So essentially what this is like there's a ton of channels that are related to all different types of things related to service members and veterans, as well as a bunch of like tech specific things. The ones that I try to pay attention to the most are job board. So these are people who work at the company, so not recruiters and not like people just blasting a ton of stuff. There's just a whole bunch of people just saying like, hey, anyone interested in moving to Naples, Florida? Like you can kind of see this is a very active channel. There's stuff from today, there's stuff from last week, and you can see this is an active channel. There's a lot of people posting a lot of positions, and if you have anything else that you want to talk about, you can just message these people directly. So it's a nice little ecosystem for that. Don't also do yourself a favor and do us a favor. Don't look for a job until we're finished here. Mostly because you want to be best prepared for the job market. You don't want to go like I know 2 weeks worth of stuff and now I can apply for jobs. It's not going to work that way. So you want to make sure that you understand that as best you can. So let's go back over here. So that's Operation Code. Everyone should have signed up for that as well. The next 3 things that we're going to download. One of them is iTerm 2. This is pretty simple. You're just going to download it straight from the website. And basically what this is that every single Mac computer comes pre-built in with something called Terminal. This is an application that basically, it's a shell application which means, well, you don't need to know this quite yet. Everything comes built in with Terminal, but we're not going to be installing Terminal. We're going to be using iTerm 2. It's the preferred one of choice for most developers right now. It's a little bit faster, and you can do a lot more like in terms of like fancy macros and things like that. So we're going to download iTerm 2, which is right here using downloads. Now, the important thing to remember is that when I download something like this and I install it, I want to drag all of my stuff into applications here. And the reason behind that is like, you can, basically what happens is, let's say you download Google Chrome, right? You could download Google Chrome and every single time that you run it, you're running it out of downloads or something like that. You want to drag all the files and all the applications that you download from the web, you want to put inside this applications folder, because then it's centrally located in this one area right here. So once you download iTerm and you unzip it, drag it into applications so that it's located with your root user. I have a message from, I had trouble signing up for Operation Code. It's not a crucial thing right now. What exactly what was the issue?
So I was just curious if anybody else had been able to sign up, because I can't sign up or log in. It's kind of like the buttons for submit or log in don't really have any functionality on the site right now. I can't tell if it's just a temporary issue or what.
Okay. It's probably a bug for today. I'll bring it up in their general channel, and then we will, I'll bring it up in the general channel. We'll go from there. But
Awesome.
Don't worry about it. It's like that's
good.
That's for later, not for right now.
That's good.
Okay. All right. The next thing you're going to download is something called Sublime Text. Now, if you want to use Atom, because I know that's what LearnCo is built off of, that's totally okay. What Sublime Text is, it's called a text editor, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's nothing fancy. It's just Microsoft Word for code. So Microsoft Word has a whole bunch of stuff built in, like margins and bold and italics and all that kind of stuff. It's really good for writing papers. It's meant to write English documents, but it's not good for writing code because it's not a text editor. So what you can use instead, what I recommend is using a GUI, which means a graphical user interface. Graphical user interface being something that I can click around, I can go up and down like this, and I can click and I can type. It's graphical user interface is the stuff that you use every single day. So if you want to use Sublime Text, that's totally okay. If you want to use Atom, that's okay as well. It's up to you. I recommend Sublime Text because that's what I know best. But all the shortcuts I'm going to teach are pretty much the same on Sublime Text and or Atom. Sublime Text is unfortunately a paid service. So it's free to use forever, but you're going to get annoying little pop-ups telling you to buy the software. It's $80 one time if you want to buy it. Atom is open source. Open source meaning it's free. It's free to the community. It's free to everybody. You will never get those annoying pop-ups saying like, please buy my software. So yeah, Atom or Sublime Text, it's up to you. It's just no Vim and no Emacs. And yeah, you don't need to worry about what those are. All right, so I want to pause here. Does everyone have all of these things set up? So Xcode, Slack, Zoom, forget Operation Code, iTerm, Sublime, and Node. Remote students, you good?
John, what is lacking on the Macintosh remotes in the back of the room?
You actually don't need to set anything up because yours is all set.
Sweet. Same with Kimberly too.
Same with Kimberly as well. I would recommend just tuning in with us just to make sure that you understand what we're installing. But your computer and Kimberly's computer are fully provisioned already, and Daniel's computer is fully provisioned already.
Sweet, thanks.
All right, how are we doing, Raymond? Where are you at?
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right. You're still on Xcode.
Yeah, I need Xcode and I just did Slack. So just
Okay.
Xcode.
Okay. Aaron.
Okay, I'm Xcode in High Sierra.
Okay, that's fine. Those will take forever, so I'm going to move forward. And if you want me to help you set it up later, we can do that. How's that sound? All right. Now we're going to click this link called Complete Installfest. All right. And it's important when it comes to Installfest to follow these things in order. So what we're gonna install 8 different things. I am seeing 2 of Sarah, so I'm going to get rid of one of them. Whatever. Okay. All right. So the first things first, we're going to set up something called subble. And subble is basically a command that's built into Sublime that'll allow you to open up different files directly from the command line. The command line being iterm. So you're going to open up iterm, and then just copy this line right here, this ln-s, all of this stuff. Make sure that when you do install Sublime Text that you are dragging it into the applications folder. Otherwise, this command won't work.
Okay. So open iterm.
Yep.
So it says file exists
Mm-hmm.
after I enter the command.
Okay.
Is that what it's supposed to say?
I don't know. Let me see.
I copied that command. That's what I got.
Cool. Just type in subl space dot enter. Yep, you're good.
Okay.
So again, this subble command is literally all it does is just open up things with Sublime Text. That's all. When you did subble dot, you said open everything. Cool. Yours is all set up. Remote students, how are you doing?
Is there a test to know if that worked or not? Because mine didn't come back with anything.
Cool. Just type in subl space dot and then press enter, and then like Sublime Text should open, like the window of Sublime Text should open. Okay. So Kelsey is good to go. Sarah, you good?
Mine says permission denied.
Okay, type in sudo in front of ln-s. So type in sudo and then paste that thing from the and then it's going to ask you for your password. This is the one that you used to unlock your computer after you put it to sleep.
subl space dot.
Mm-hmm.
No, command not found.
You got to type the first command first. So click on this.
Okay.
And then go down. Copy that line right there.
Oh.
The entire from L, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then paste it into your iterm.
What does it say?
Permission denied. So you got to do sudo
You
too.
got to put sudo in the front. Sudo actually, do people know what sudo means?
Super user.
Super user do, yeah. Basically,
No,
what that says is I'm going to, like, certain commands you can run without any sort of permissions. And there's certain commands you're going to need to have permissions enabled in order to do that. So when it says permission denied, you can just type sudo in the front for right now.
Space and then paste.
And then that's the password you use to unlock your computer.
You got to type your password after that.
And it's okay if nothing shows up on the screen. It's being hidden, but it is being captured. Now, once you're done with that, just type in subl space dot, enter. Cool, you're all set. Because as long as it opens in Sublime, that's cool. Just press open. You're good. You can close that window. Sarah, you're good, right? Okay, it's fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. So this next one is called Homebrew. So first things first for everyone, let's type in which space brew. Okay. If you have something that shows up, you should then ignore what I'm about to say next. If nothing shows up when you type in which space brew, then we'll move forward. Sure, you good?
No, not yet.
Okay, so nothing shows up for Sharif. And for a lot of people, nothing's going to show up. You're going to type in which brew, and then nothing's going to happen. If that happens, highlight that next line, which is ruby-e, and then that curl command. So highlight that entire line, and then paste it Yeah, that is if you don't see something under when you type in which brew. And you might need to enter your password. Again, when you're typing your password into iTerm and into any shell, really, what's happening there is it's being captured, but it's not showing up on the screen. So it is going through. Again, it's okay if none of this makes any sense to anybody. It's not really supposed to at this point. We're just setting up the machines. What's showing up over there?
It says downloading command line tools.
Okay. Oh yeah. I'm not sure that you can move forward until Xcode is done.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let me.
Wait, what was that last part?
Is Xcode finished downloading?
It hasn't on mine, but I was able to run the which brew.
Which brew? What came up at the end?
I got the
User local bin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can ignore the next portion then. All right. Leanna and Sarah, are you good? You have brew? You can unmute yourself. Your faces are very small.
Yes. Quick, sorry to backtrack. Node. After I installed it, nothing popped up. I can't find it in my apps folder. Is that normal?
Nope, that's fine. That one in particular is good. Sarah, are you good?
Mine is still, it says downloading command line tools for Xcode. So it's running through everything,
Okay.
I guess. But it looks like it's going.
Can you share your screen with me real quick? All right. Let's continue pressing up, and then I'll work individually with people who haven't set it up yet. All right. Next thing. So basically, what Homebrew is, it's a missing package. They call it the missing package manager for Mac OS. So there's a lot of things that need to be built in to your command line a lot of tools that need to be added in order for your machine to develop well. So kind of similar to the App Store where it manages all the different versions of stuff for you. Similarly, when it comes to Homebrew, it also updates all the software that you need as well. So we're going to run brew update inside of your machine. Download such file. Can you uninstall brew? Can you Google how to uninstall Homebrew?
John, did you want me to share my screen with you?
Let's you and I work on that separately. It seems like let's you and I work on that a little bit separately for now.
So mine downloading, and then it did a bunch of stuff.
That's good.
And now,
You're good. You're good.
I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Run brew update for me.
Just write brew update.
Brew space update. Yeah. Cool. Everything up to date, it says. Now type in brew doctor. Cool. You're all set. That's not it. Go back.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Go back. Go back. Yeah, choose that second one. Yeah. Go down. Go down. Keep going. Okay, this is interesting. Just copy the LN. Go back to Installfest.
Oh.
Just copy that Ruby line and see what happens. And return password. Cool. I think it was in like an old version of Homebrew or something like that. Okay, remote students, are you good? When you ran brew doctor and brew update, did a bunch of ugly stuff just show up on the screen?
Yes.
Cool. All right, let's continue on.
Do I still do a brew update after that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's still working through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Do I just wait?
Yeah, you can just wait. Does it still say like downloading command line tools for you?
Yeah, it's installing command line tools now.
Okay, so it's just going to take a little bit. I want to see. Yeah, everyone's coming in at different times. Leanna, are you totally up to date here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. Let's take a copy that echo path pipe tr::tn. So that little $sign in the front means that it's a command that you're going to dump in at the at iTurn. So you don't highlight that; you highlight the thing after that. So just copy that and then paste it in. As long as user.
So we start here. We don't copy the first line.
No, just literally the first line.
The Xcode.
Just the first.
Just the first line without the $sign.
Yeah. So let's do.
Make sure that user local bin comes before user bin, which comes before bin. As long as that's okay, then we are good to go.
Okay, so what's the next step? I think you have to wait.
User local bin comes before user bin, which comes before bin. You're good to go, Sharif. Downloading, now it's installing. Okay. Leanna, did that show up correctly for you?
So mine says user local git bin. So mine's inside of my git folder. Is that a problem?
Should be okay.
Okay.
Should be okay. Yeah, but as long as the local bin comes before user bin, which comes before bin, right?
It says user local git bin and then user local bin.
Okay, that's probably okay.
Okay.
All right. Seems like are you finished with Xcode?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Halfway. 3.68 out of 5.5.
You are still installing?
Yes.
Okay. Sarah, you're still installing, right? It looks like we're almost there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I think there's an issue in general with the App Store. Like it's a glitch with the App Store with this.
User local bin, user bin, you're good. You're good. Sarah, you still download?
Yes, it still says installing command line tools for Xcode.
All right. In the meantime, let us go through the next section, okay? So it says if it doesn't open that, it's fine. Okay. Now we're going to start installing some software on our machines. So the first one that we're going to install is something called SQLite. SQLite is a database adapter for something called SQLite. It's just a type of database. So we're going to have Homebrew keep track of all the versions for us, similarly how it keeps track of all the Slack versions and all the other app versions that we have. So we're going to do brew install SQLite 3. Should be fairly quick, and as long as nothing blows up, like you should be pretty good to go. You're good. You're good. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to brew install Postgres, which is another flavor of SQL.
Do you know what version of SQLite 3 they're currently on?
Homebrew will take care of all of that for you.
Okay, because mine just said already installed and then gave the version name.
Yeah, so once you've installed it, all you have to do is do brew update, and it'll update everything, all the software that you install. So that's why we do install things using Homebrew.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Next, we're going to copy those next two lines, the $sign LS, not without the $sign. We're just going to get these things linked up. So basically, what you're doing with these two commands is, whenever you load your computer, you're going to load Postgres in the background. You're going to load the SQL, the SQL server in the background, and it's going to be running continuously in the background. So highlight that first line, paste it in. Probably nothing happens, and then copy that second line and paste it in.
Do I hit enter or just wait
Looks like you're good.
without it?
Yep. All right, and just to verify that we've done everything correctly, we're going to type in which space Postgres. And as long as it says user local bin Postgres, you're good. Sarah, you're still waiting, correct?
I think that it's done installing Homebrew.
Okay.
I'm gonna move on to the next two things that you guys did.
Okay. So it's finished with Homebrew. You can skip brew update, brew doctor because it's fresh. Just copy this thing right here and then paste it in. And then make sure that user local bin comes before user bin, which comes before bin. Cool, you're good. Type in which pSQL.
Is that right? Is there a local
Should be.
bin
Yeah,
Postgres?
that's good. And then which pSQL. Enter. Good. And you're good as well. All right, now grab that next one, the PSaux pipe grab Postgres. And as long as anything shows up, you're good.
We just did that one.
Oh, okay.
Did you do Postgres?
Yeah. And I did this one, right?
Just type it in. It doesn't hurt.
Okay.
It just says, is this running? Cool, you're good. And just grab that next one, the PSaux, grab Postgres. Grab it all. Yep. Copy it. And as long as anything shows up when you paste it in, you're good. Okay. You're good. Okay. And then finally follow these prompts here. And finally follow those prompts there. Leanna, what point are you at right now?
I was trying to follow along. So after the PSaux, now it's the create database user. Is that?
Yep. Just follow those three things.
Am I just pasting those in as is, like with the $sign at before user and everything?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Backslash Q. Just backslash Q without the. There you go. So just do create database space $sign user, and then pSQL user, and then backslash Q if it works. Yep, you're good. Backslash Q. That's /. So the way that you can tell what a / versus a backslash is if you're standing straight upwards, / is the one that's leaning forward. If I was standing straight up, and if I was leaning backwards, that's the backslash. Got it. Yep.
Did somebody just ask if you copied the $sign?
Yeah, the lady on there.
No, but that's for the user.
Oh, for the user.
The
Okay.
SQL
Okay.
user, yeah. Cool. You should be good as long as that works. We should be at a good pausing point. So you're set. Leanna's set. Sarah, where are you at?
I just ran the Postgres install, and that's where it just finished doing that. Do I have to do anything else after that? It looked like it was okay. Do I have to do the which Postgres and?
So you did this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you highlight this line here and this other line?
No.
All right, let's go ahead, get this get this line in there, and then the next one. So remember, you're not also typing in the $sign. The
Okay.
$sign matches up with this right there.
Okay.
Let's do, for you two, let's do brew install RBNV. Leanna, you can do this one too if you want. RBENV. So basically, there are 3 different pieces of software that can manage which Ruby versions you are having. It's kind of like Inception at this point. So your App Store manages all your applications, your Brew manages all of your software on your computer, and RBNV will manage all the versions of Ruby that you're going to have as well. You can kind of see like why we use package managers, because they keep track of all the different versions. Otherwise, you would have to keep track of all these versions. So Leanna, Sharif, and Raymond, let's do brew install RBNV. RBENV stands for Ruby environment.
BEN.
Good?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. RBENV space init. Cool. All right.
RBNEV.
ENV.
ENV.
Romeo,
Bravo.
Bravo, Echo,
I don't know. November.
November, Victor.
Okay.
Dot install.
That's
Space.
The second time around.
it's on there.
And
Scroll
then-
down a little bit.
Yeah, brew install.
Scroll down one. Keep going. Oh, look there. I know it's too far. So go up a little bit more. Tiny bit more. Right there. Brew install RBNV.
Okay.
Leanna, you got that?
Yes.
Okay. And you did RBNV space init.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So what we're going to do here is that let's say when you go traveling, right? You enter a bunch of information on your itinerary, right? Let's say you're a really famous person. Evidently, I didn't know this was a thing, but evidently it is. When you're a really famous person and you want to stay at a particular hotel, there are certain needs that you have ahead of time. You want like hypoallergenic, blah blah blah. You want certain requests so that every single time that you go over and over, they know what you want, and then they can get it for you every single time. If you're a frequent flyer and you want to be checked, like early checkout or something like that, that's something that they will keep track of so they don't keep asking you every single time. Or there was a time when I was in college, we were doing like the largest outdoor music festival or something like that, and we had Nelly come out, who was one of our headliners. It cost us $75,000 for 45 minutes with a 15-minute encore. So for 1 hour, Nelly made $75,000. Now when Nelly travels, like he has his agent like give us a whole list of requirements of what we have to have in order for him to show up. And it was like we needed to buy him food, and it needed to be from Boston Market, and it needed to be XYZ, like all of this different stuff. And similarly, when we're dealing with stuff on our computer, we're going to create what's called a bash profile. So basically what that means is inside of iTerm, every single time that you reload it, it's going to recognize that it's you, and it's going to load similar things every single time. So the next thing we're going to type in for everybody is that subl space ~.bash profile.
Was it 75,000 or Boston Market or both?
Both. 75,000 plus Boston Market. Yeah. All right. So this is a file that should be blank for some people. That's okay. You can keep it there. Basically, what this is going to do is you're going to start writing a bunch of you're going to copy and paste a bunch of code, and inside this little bit of code, it's going to that's fine. It's going to be like every single time I load up a new window, like a new iTerm window, all of this stuff will already be loaded in. So grab that next thing, which says if which RBNV blah blah blah.
Do I replace this or a
No,
second?
just on another line. And save that, and then close it. Now type in source bash profile at your at your terminal.
This one?
Yep. So instead of opening it with Sublime, I'm going to source it. Sourcing it means like I'm going to load it into existence at this particular point in time. Again, if you don't understand half the things that are going on here, that is totally okay. Well, we're just installing a bunch of software as of right now.
So on line 2 goes at
Yep.
if which.
Yep. Or just whatever the next free line is, really. All right. So for those people who are good, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to do Airbnb space install -- list. This is going to list all the different versions of Ruby that there are. And this is mostly meant just to show you just how many different versions there are. You can scroll up a pretty far ways away, but we're going to be using Ruby 2.5.0. Like these are all the different ones that have been running so far. So we're going to do Airbnb install 2.5.0. That next line right there. This is going to take a little bit of time. We're talking probably 5 to 7 minutes or so before we can move on to the next thing. You're all set. Sharif, you seem to be all set. Leanna, is it installing Ruby for you right now?
Yes, it's installing.
Okay. Sarah, where are you at?
I did the brew install RBENB, and I got up to the Sublime opening.
Okay.
I pasted that line into Sublime, and then that's where I am right now. I'm not really sure what to do.
So
Nothing happened.
you pasted this line into the Sublime thing?
Yep.
Save it and then close it. And then type in source bash profile. And then nothing should show up. It should be good to go on its own.
Save it and then close it, and then this into the iTerm.
Yep.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Yeah, and then nothing showed up. That's good, right?
That's good. Yep. All
Okay.
right. So you can skip this one if you want. You can also copy and paste this one in. Basically, this will list out all the different versions of Rubies that Airbnb can handle. And then we're going to install version 2.5.0. That's the most up-to-date one that we're going to be using. This install might take 5 to 7 minutes.
You're gonna paste it. Control undo. Copy that. No,
I'm hearing everyone's machines act up a little bit. That's totally normal.
copied it. No, paste it. Oh wait, actually, delete that second one. And Command save or Command S. And then paste it on the terminal. And then go here, paste. Control, yeah. Might have done it out of order. Did you do that before?
This stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did both of these in the right timing.
Because you're supposed to do that before that.
Yeah. What happens if
Kill command do Control C. All right. X out of this bash profile thing on the left.
this?
Nope.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Press up and down. Here, up once. Yep. Enter. Cool. Now do Airbnb install. So press up a bunch of times until you see that command that you typed in. There. Enter.
2.5.
Yes, sure.
Well, I'm sure.
And this will take a while. This one might take 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, so this is good to go. Huh?
All right, you are done. That was faster than I thought. Leanna, are you? Would you have to be done as well? No. Okay.
No, it doesn't have my like normal command
If it doesn't have a normal thing, then you can just relax for a little bit.
Okay.
At the top of the iTerm thing, it says #1 space. Does it say Ruby?
Now it says 1.sh.
Like right there, it says 1.sh. That's okay. We can keep that there. It's still working then. All right, Xcode is done for you. You just quit.
Just close it.
Yep. I would do a file. Just go to Xcode real quick on the top left. Go down to quit Xcode. The machine is dying. You need to charge. No, it's just working.
Oh,
You can continue on. Do RBMV versions.
So we need to install Ruby.
Okay. So you see how it's highlighted on system right now? That's the one that's built into the machine by default. But instead, we're going to highlight that next one. This says RBMV Global 2.5.0. And we're going to install that. Now type in RBMV into that. Actually, just press Alt twice. Now, instead of selecting the system one, it's selecting 2.5.0.
oh, I see.
I'll do RBMV rehash. Cool. Now do which RBMV. You're good. Type in which Ruby real quick. Good. Scroll down a little bit. Copy that next one. The RBMV which Ruby. Good. Just continue on. The which gem and stuff like that.
So this guy did this, so I'm gonna do this.
Yes.
When they say go back.
So right now, you see how the little asterisk is on system? So that means it's selected, like the system, it's using system Ruby right now. We don't want that. We want 2.5.1. So the next command, I'm saying whenever RBMV is running, I want it globally to use 2.5.
Space and they still have an issue with this. But I can go ahead and take it off and just see what happens.
Do you have files that you have password that you can delete?
You two continue working and stop right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, I'm gonna see how remote is doing. All right, what's going on remote? Let's see where people are at.
How will we know when it's done? Oh, mine just finished. Never mind. It just installed.
Yeah, 15%. Okay.
Leanna, yours is fully finished as well?
Yeah, and I finished the RB environment rehash commands. Got through those. And then verified manager, and now I just did which Ruby, and that looks fine.
Okay. And then did you run this command right here?
Yes.
Okay. You can continue on with all of these up until install Git using Homebrew.
Okay.
Those should be pretty self-explanatory. Sarah, yours, so you did this one, it worked. Just kind of go ahead and run each command as you see it here. RBN versions. This will show you all the ones that are installed currently. We're going to set the global one to 2.5. We're going to make sure that's selected. So the asterisk should move from system down to 2.5 and then run RBNV rehash.
Okay, John, I lied.
Okay.
So I ran the which Ruby, but I hadn't done the RB environment which Ruby, and they are different.
Okay. Can you share your screen with me?
You're gonna hate me. I'm using two computers right now.
Okay.
So I can share it through Slack. Is that something we could do?
Sure, that's probably fine. Well, the main thing, actually, you don't need to. I just need to make sure that this is here, because this little command is the one that is the one that's important.
Oh,
Open up your bash profile. If this is not there, then this particular command will fall apart.
okay.
Press commands.
What's the? Just go back to the bash profile then and
Yeah,
redo
just
that.
jump up here, type in subl tilde bash profile.
Yes. Well, it says it's there.
Okay. Did you run source bash profile on it?
Did.
Okay. What do you get when you type in which Ruby?
Which Ruby has my personal name,
Okay.
and then the other which Ruby shows as being the user bin Ruby.
Okay. Did you type in this Ruby RBNB Global 2.5.0?
I didn't, but it was because I already had it. So I will go back and do that.
Yeah, run this and then run rehash, and then everything should be fixed up.
All right.
Sarah, where are you at?
I just verified I just did which Ruby, and it looks like it's in the right place.
Cool. Did you run this one?
Yeah, and it looks like yours does, except with my name.
Yeah, cool. All right, so kind of run yourself through this gems thing right here, up until this point right here. So just run through the gems section.
Okay.
So gems are basically, they're called Ruby. There are Ruby libraries, which means it's thousands of lines of Ruby code that someone's written ahead of time to make your life developing a lot easier. And those things are called gems because Ruby is a gem, so they call them Ruby gems. So it's like those are just Ruby libraries. So that's what we're doing here. We're just updating a whole bunch of, you're going to be using external libraries quite often, and then you're just going to be installing those on your computer. So you're all set, correct? You're up to that point?
So is it like a preloaded script?
It's kind of like it's a preloaded script, yeah. Okay. It does some sort of software when you type in a command.
Okay. Like a Java Bean?
Kind of like Java Beam, similar, yeah. It's actually I'm not terribly familiar with Java.
Yeah, Java Bean is like a net. It's an identity for
Like a block of code, or maybe a Visual Basic DLL.
First line.
Those are letters.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just overwrites the last install. Okay. Yeah, I got the same thing.
All right. It seems like we're in a pretty decent spot to continue moving on, but I'll always come back to people who are struggling a little bit, or just not struggling, behind a little bit. We're going to install Git using Homebrew. So OS X, like Mac ships out with a whole bunch of stuff. Like it comes out with a system Ruby that was already installed on your computer. It comes out with a system bash and everything like that. But as you can see, we're downloading a whole bunch of new stuff. Similarly, the Git client that OS X ships out with kind of sucks. So we're going to have Brew use it instead. So we're going to do Brew install Git.
So will there be any conflict if I already have Git installed? Or will it just override it?
Yeah, it would probably just override it. Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you install Git from?
I think it was, I don't remember.
Okay.
I did it a while back.
Okay. Yeah. Brew is probably okay. It'll probably overwrite.
Okay.
So just Brew install Git, and then type in which Git just to verify that you're getting what you want. You should be good. Just do which Git.
Hey, John, when you have a second.
Okay. Go through this next. This next section is very difficult, so give it a shot.
Okay.
What's going on?
I was just doing the gem install bundler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's asking if I want to overwrite the executable.
I had the same thing.
Yes, override it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So next thing, we're going to configure our Git so that it works really well inside of our terminal right here. First things first, we're going to ignore certain things like log files. I don't know if you've ever seen a log file, but it's basically just like miles and miles long of garbage. Like, I don't want to see that. Nobody really needs to see that because that's on your machine. Those are examples of things that will get ignored globally. So we're going to create this touch tilde git ignore underscore global. And then next, we're just going to set the file for that. We're just going to highlight this git config-global core excludes. So we're going to create the file first. That's what touch does. And then we're going to set it up using this command here. After that, we're going to set our git config so that it recognizes our credentials. So we're going to click on number 1 and number 2, just 1 and 2 for now. Let's ignore 3 for a little bit. So number 1, basically, when we open a terminal, we're going to set the config to be our username, like whatever your name actually is. So mine would be Jonathan Young. And then to confirm, this is just type in git config -- global user.name. What this is doing is basically saying, on my machine here, it's going to recognize that whenever I push something from my computer and upload it into GitHub, my name is Jonathan Young or Raymond Armada or something like that.
So, but it has to be a GitHub too.
No, that's literally, the first one is literally just your name. Number 2 is your email address, and then it will find your GitHub handle based on your email address. Mm-hmm. So the first one, I'm just setting my name as whatever your name is on GitHub. The second one, I'm just setting whatever my email address is, the one that's associated with my GitHub email.
So does the name have to match the GitHub
Yes.
name, or
Yes.
is it like a string?
Yeah, it's, as a string, you're the name that you use on GitHub.
Okay, so
Just like, it's not the username.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the username. This first one, number 1, is literally just your name. So whatever your legal name is, or whatever name you used to sign up when you first signed up for GitHub. The second one is literally the email address. This one's more important. The email address that's associated with your GitHub account. Third, the caching of the password's a little bit more challenging. We're basically going to run through these steps here, and we won't actually, when we push our code from our command line tomorrow, because I think up to this point, everything's been done in the cloud and via Learn, right? You never had to use the command line to push code up to GitHub, right? No. So tomorrow, when we push up our code for the first time, it's going to prompt you for your password, and then you'd enter it once, and then it memorizes it, so you never have to worry about it again. Otherwise, you would have to enter it every single time that you push it. So again, we create a git ignore file that's globally everywhere. We're going to start configuring it using this command here. We're going to set up our username, our email, and then our password. This password thing, all we're doing is we're just highlighting these lines. This first one right here, this git credential -osx keychain. If something shows up, you're good to go. And then just run git config -- global credential -helper osx keychain. This is like the thing that's going to be saving your password for you. And then once we get to that point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause for right now and just kind of see where people are. This last one's really easy. If you want to, you can just run through it yourself.
So you don't actually type in your password?
Not yet.
Okay.
Does it ask you for your password?
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, you're good for now.
Okay.
And then finally grab that last one, git config -- global core editor. Basically, it's saying every single time that I want to open something up in Git, I'm going to use my default text editor, which is Sublime, SUBL. Again, that SUBL goes back to the first command that we typed in.
Okay, so
You're all set.
am I?
If you want, you can continue on using that last one. This one. So don't highlight the $sign. So press up, press down actually. If you see this $sign right there, this $sign is reflective of that one, saying like, "Hey, enter this at the." Yeah. So grab that, and then.
I don't know if the one before this worked.
It didn't.
It didn't.
No.
So username.
Forward. Do that first one again. Yeah. Oh, it is git username. My mistake. Username. Yep, my mistake. Oh no, git username is whatever. You can do whatever you want. Your name is not Mona Lisa though.
No.
So press up.
I can't change it here.
No. Press up. Okay. And then go back. Press up. Left. Delete. Now remember, when it comes to iTerm, when it comes to shells and things like that, there is no mouse. So if you're clicking around wondering why nothing is working, there is no mouse inside of a command line. Good, you're good. All right, let's go back. Email. Yeah, he needs to actually configure his.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he needs to configure his well, it's just gonna be really annoying. You're gonna type in your username and password every single time, which kind of sucks.
In GitHub?
Yeah, which kind of sucks. Go to Installfest. Do all of these things.
It already went to.
You're good to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you copy like a little line and then you copy it.
All right. Remote students, how are you?
And then you paste it this way.
Give me good news that everything is good.
So I didn't do the password part, but I did the first two. Should I go ahead and do the global core editor?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you using Atom or are you using Sublime?
Sublime.
Okay. Yeah, then you can just copy this command here directly. Sarah, you good?
I'm configuring the usernames.
Okay. Are you stuck?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just because I got burned before, I ran the commands to test if my username was already set up and my email was already set up, and they were, so I didn't redo that.
Oh, so you just ran this config without the
Yes.
extra argument here?
Yes.
Okay, then you'd be good to go. This password thing, they're not going to ask you. It's basically saying like, when I enter my password, it's going to use credential OSX keychain to save it, so that every time it's going to read from it over and over.
So should we go ahead and do that part?
If you want, do you know how to push to GitHub from the command line?
It's been a while.
Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry.
My my global username setup was fine, but the single repository one, it says fatal not in Git directory.
So you said the username, this one worked well?
The global one, yes.
This one?
Wait, sorry. Yep.
And you said this one did not work.
Right.
Did you put it inside of quotations?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your GitHub email?
No, wait, hold on. What am I looking at? I'm looking at
Control V.
No, I'm looking at something else.
You're talking about this one?
I clicked on the username link and it had global username and then single repository username. So I
Oh,
was
just
trying to
sorry.
follow
Just
through
do
that.
the global one.
Okay. And
Just-
now, now I'm going on to email
Ignore
address.
this one. Yeah.
Okay.
So just do this one for every. So this one's for global for every single repository on your computer that's a Git repository. This one is thinking like, oh, you have a single Git repository that you want to say like I'm a different person for. So you just want to worry about this first section here and the first section here. And this one, there's only one section. All right, Aaron, where are you at?
I'm still working on this on an update for the Xcode this
Yeah,
year.
just put your password in press enter.
I'm good to go with the get going.
Okay. All right. Leanna, you can just finish up using the bash one down here.
Okay, but we'll do the password thing tomorrow, you said?
We'll do the password thing tomorrow, yeah.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to stop this recording here.
So you're good. So I'll put that one next.